All right, welcome to the Tuesday 20. Yes, our topic is Jared and Jon Unplugged. It's going to be great. We're also, before we get into our topic, I wanted to kind of go through a couple announcements. Let's see, I'm just going to share my screen because that's going to be way easier. All right, so the first announcement is this Thursday, we're having a webinar Thursday at noon Pacific, so same time as now, just on Thursday, for coaches who are interested in learning a little more about Synduit and if that would be a good fit. It's not a good fit for everyone, but for most coaches who are senior coach and above who want to grow to executive director, it seems to be a good thing, seems to make sense. So hop on there. I'll send this out in an email, but this is the registration link, also posted in the groups. So there's no, you don't have to sign up. You can just come and get on the webinar and check it out and see if it would be a good fit. So that's one announcement. That's this Thursday, the 14th. And then also, we wanted to announce that there are some scholarship opportunities for becoming a coach starting today through Health Ninja. So if you click the image at the top of the coaching groups and go to bit.ly/healthninja4, so that link right there, then it will bring you to this Google Doc. And this is the same Google Doc that explains Health Ninja. We just added in some info at the top. And basically, if you have a potential coach, so probably if you've been what's the word I'm looking for? Participating. I lost my word. If you've been participating in the sponsor blitz that we've been doing with the Woods team, then you probably have some potentials. And if you haven't been, but you're going, wait, what's that? I didn't even hear about it. I'll send all the playback in an email after the Tuesday 20, so you can still participate even if you're late in the game. It'd be very easy to watch the playback. But here's the form that you'll have your potential coaches fill out. And it's pretty simple. Let's see if I can make this bigger so you can get. It's pretty simple. They just watch the video, which is the Explore Health Coaching video that Dan Valentine did last Thursday, and then complete the form below. And that's literally it. It has a couple questions about their current health situation, what's the approximate income and time that makes the most sense for them, and what they're applying for. So it just take them a couple minutes to fill out the form and to watch the video. And we're going to be doing the drawing this Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, so that's 2 Mountain, 3 Central, 4 Eastern. And we will be doing that drawing. So how it'll work, and you can get those details on the Health Ninja Google Doc, is the sponsor coach will put in $25, and then all the mentor coaches, all of us, will be matching. So specific mentor coaches, usually it's most of the nationals and above, but we're going to cover you. We'll match another $25 to give a $50 scholarship for your potential to become a coach, which is really exciting. And the cool thing is also, those new coaches have an opportunity to earn a $50 bonus from us, and that will be earned by doing a practice call, making a list of their first 10 people, and signing up 2 clients by the end of the month. So it's, and watch a Tuesday 20. So this Tuesday 20 could count. It could be a playback or a live. We know that not everyone can get on things live. So anyone could have that opportunity to earn that $50 bonus. And I mean, if you think about it, they had the $50 to sign up and then the $50 bonus opportunity. That's $100 that would be pretty simple for most people with just a few hours of time to put in. And so I think that's pretty exciting. That would be pretty exciting for a lot of the potential coaches that we have on the team. So that's all the announcements that I had. There is a training and a trilogy night this Thursday. Can someone come on who's doing it? It's like Wendy Christensen, Steph Whiting, any of you? Can any of you guys come on and tell us a little bit about the Thursday night? Anyone? All right.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, go ahead, Steph.
Hi, sorry, I was exercising. It's going to be Thursday night at Jefferson Elementary in Kaysville. And it's just going to be a trilogy presentation. Wendy Christensen and I think Tiare Walker, is that right? Okay, are going to be presenting. And then following that, we're going to do a little coach training. And we're just going to kind of go over tips and tricks of building strong coaching teams. And I'm going to start that off. And then I think Haley and Marcia are going to also participate. And then we're going to open it up and do a big question and answer. So we don't have a ton of events in Davis County. We're trying to build more out here, but this is an awesome opportunity for anybody who has Davis County people to come and join us. So we have a big, I think, elementary school. So there should be plenty of space. So come, 7 o'clock, and I'll post the invite in Optavia Coaches in Action.
Awesome, Steph, and I'll get that out in the email as well. Does anyone else have any events or anything that they have that they want to announce right now before we get to our training?
Just a reminder about National Optimal Health Day. We're doing a big party in Lehigh, and that is Wednesday the 27th. We will get invites out quickly with that. I was kind of waiting for the company to come up with something, and I haven't seen anything, so I'll just do it. And then the next night we're doing another one up in Davis County. So it'll be a presentation in Bountiful and probably an hour health coach training, maybe. Kind of more. We were actually, ironically, we were thinking like question and answer and stuff like that too. So it'll be fun to follow up with the people who had the training on the 14th. It's just 2 weeks later. So.
Perfect. So excited for that. We just got our bounce house fan because we lost it in the move. I don't know what happened to it. It's going to be a bounce house. There's going to be a DJ. And my client, who's down 40 pounds, by the way, is going to be the DJ there. It's going to be awesome.
And we have pickleball on our basketball court. We can play, and it'll be fun.
Trampoline, if you sign a waiver.
John's going to be doing a trampoline flip show.
Trampoline flip show by John Fuller. Actually, that's more Kat.
I know Kat's more of a gymnast, but I want to see John do it.
Okay. Done. It's on the schedule. Okay, anyone else? All right. Let's get to it. Jon and Jared Unplugged. I'm so excited.
Jon and Jared Unplugged plus Bonnie.
And Bonnie.
So I think Bonnie is going to be the best. So not bagging on you, Jon, but so Jon and we talked a lot, and we were chatting the other day, and this idea came about, this conversation we were having. So I wanted Jon just to kind of kick us off and give us some background of what he was talking to me about, and the evolution, their evolution in this business.
Okay, so for the last 3 summers, I'd say 2 summers actually, last 2 summers, Kat and I have been talking a lot about summertime, and things seem to slow down for some people for whatever reason. And so I was just talking with Kat, and I'm like, you know what, we're going to work extra hard this summer. We're going to crack the code. We're going to figure out how to get it done so that our summers are amazing times, and there's just lots of growth within our business and all of those types of things. And it was really interesting to me because as Jared and I started talking about it, he's like, well, we already have the code. And I was like, well, what's that? And he's like, Brian Drollinger. He already gave us the code. And I was like, well, duh, Brian did already give us the code. It is eat the food, talk to the people, don't give up. And we like to add into that a lot of times, have fun too. But, as health coaches, I think sometimes we spend so much time trying to crack the code that we forget to just keep this thing super simple. Eat the food, talk to the people, don't give up, right? And so for me, I'm just going to take a minute, you guys, and let's kind of dissect everyone's business super quickly. Think about your own and think about the coaches on your team. And this is really the key to eating the food. If you're eating the food, you will have a passion for the food. People will see you eating the food, and that will open the doorway to so many other conversations. So a super simple way to help your business be successful is, do you have a B-Slim order? If you have a B-Slim order, you believe in it. If you have a B-Slim order, that food's coming to your house. You're getting food to your house every month, so somebody's got to be eating it. And if you don't believe in the food, it's really hard for you to have anybody else believe in the food. The second thing to that is, do the coaches on your team have a B-Slim order? If they don't have a B-Slim order, they're probably not all the way plugged into the system or the belief of the system. And have you ever heard the phrase, it's hard to squeeze blood from a turnip? I don't even know where that came from or what it means. But basically, it's, right? You can't, if somebody's not plugged into the idea that they need to eat the food, then they might not be plugged into a lot of other elements of health coaching. And so as far as being unplugged goes, Jared and I do talk a lot, and there's a lot of our conversation that will probably never make it to this Zoom. I don't know. But that's just really something that is a key part to getting started, is just eat the food yourselves and have the people on your team eating the food, and you'll be surprised how much growth happens. That's step number one.
Yeah, a lot of years ago, Amber and I were talking to Kim Fisk, and we were asking her about ways to do system checks, because Kim started that with us. She's like, oh, let's do a systems check. And she would go through, and we would, and she always said, inspect what you expect. So we would go through our business and we would inspect our business, and she would help us. And we would, once Zoom came about, we would share screen stuff, and she'd be like, oh, well, there's this coach that seems to be going at a pretty good pace and stuff, but they don't have a B-Slim order. What's the deal with that? Oh, well, they've never done the program. Okay, well, move on. Do they want to do the program? Well, not really. They've got their own philosophies and stuff. And she's like, well, move on. Right? She was kind of, at the time, we thought that she was being mean, but she was being realistic. Like, if a coach doesn't have a testimony in the program enough to live it themselves and use the fuelings as part of optimal health, their optimal health plan, then it's going to be a struggle.
Well, and that's a good point. It's not just about being on 5 and 1.
Right.
If you're at a healthy weight, are you fueling your body? Are you, like I put in the chat, are you a gut ninja? Like the probiotics that are in the fuelings, it's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah. So eat the food. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't go to anybody and use I use some additional supplements other than Take Shape for Life Optavia Fuelings now, right? And those supplements that I've used, I get specifically from connections through Optavia, but people who have a testimony and a knowledge of how those products work. And I don't encourage people to go out and take a bunch of supplements unless they're trying to create a particular outcome. But the fuelings that Optavia creates are specifically for optimal health and weight control, to provide your body the nutrition you need. So let's move on to number 2. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Just in regards to the food, and I hope this doesn't come across wrong, but sometimes you'll hear people start to make excuses for why they don't eat the food. Whether, coaches are like, well, it's because of this or because of that or because of this or because of that. You guys, excuses are just going to excuse your way out of the business. Because when you start making excuses about the food, that's the first step to excuse yourself from the business.
So here, that's a good opportunity. I'm going to stick with that, eat the food. Amber was talking to a potential client yesterday, and this potential client watched our Zoom webinar with our CPA, and she's like, well, Amber, I think it's probably the best idea for me to just become a coach at the same time, because if I'm eating the food and I'm a coach, then my food is tax deductible. And my husband wants to go on the program too, so I'll coach him, and I don't get a tax deduction for his food because I'm getting paid for him to support him as a client. And Amber's like, ding, 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 you got it, right? We're not in the middle. We're not in the business of distribution, but we want to maximize tax deductions. We want to maximize how people are their financial health, all these kinds of things. So it's important that we explain these things. And do I think that there's something magical? I think that it has about eating the fuelings. Yes, I do. I think it has to do with those mirror neurons that we've talked about before, that people can see through the crack. If you are talking to them, having a conversation, saying, oh, you really need to use these fuelings, they're going to help you develop the habits of health, and you're not doing it, they're going to see right through it. Don't ask me how, but it works, right? Years ago, when we first started, we were poor as church mice. I was the coach of record. We were ordering in Amber's name under myself, and Kim Fisk reached out to us and said, you need to stop that. You need to place your order, all the food that you guys eat as a couple, under Amber's mom. And so we started doing that. We had an additional family order because our kids eat the food too, and that would be placed under us because they're our clients. But the food that we were eating, we placed under our coach. And I don't know how to explain it, but magically our business started to gain momentum.
Abundance mentality.
It's abundance mentality rather than scarcity. We live in a world where people tell you all the time that, oh, you need to go and pay off all your debt, right? And people are like, well, I can't buy the food right now because I'm paying off student loan debt. Anybody want to read or listen to a fantastic book? Go read or listen to Grant Cardone's Be Obsessed or Be Average. He talks about this. He's like, don't go pay off your education loan right now if that education isn't providing you any income to do so. Use your income to get better, improve. He's like, I don't look at how do I save more money and pay off debt. He's like, I look at how do I make more money. He's like, people who make more money, they save more money. That's things like going to convention, eating the food yourself, stuff like that. So,
well, it's a good principle to pay off debt, obviously.
Right, absolutely. We're not saying don't pay off debt.
Or not to go into debt. You know what I mean? And that's what we're about, is living within your means and making enough income where you're not going into debt, having to put things on credit cards.
Okay, let's move on to talk to the people. So we live in kind of a two-part social society. We live in social media, what I often refer to as anti-social media, because so many of us, whether you're in the business or not in the business, we pretend to be social by hiding behind Facebook or Instagram or whatever, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever. And they're not real, authentic relationships. I love what the Shots line said the other night the other morning, I guess it was, on the ED and Above Zoom. Dan Bell has always talked about creating an equity business. And they said, we wanted that equity business. And we realized that in order to create an equity business, that we had to create equity relationships. Oftentimes we go out with the intent of acquiring or getting clients or coaches, but our relationship isn't an equity relationship yet. So that first contact that we have with someone, oftentimes, most of the time, is not going to result in a client or a coach. It takes time to cultivate and foster and improve that relationship. Doug Wood last week talked about the phases of health coaching, the wow factor while you're losing weight. People are seeing it, and the people who are credit card throwers are like, what are you doing? I've got to do it, right? And then the next phase is the consistency phase, and then the respect phase. Like, depending on the person and the equity relationship you have, that the respect phase may be a shorter amount of time that you requires consistency, or sometimes a longer period of time if you don't have great equity in that relationship. So be willing to play the long game, like Amber always says. Like, when we started this business, we were like, hey, you know what? Succeed or fail, we're giving this thing 10 years. not 10 days, not 10 months. We're going to be in this 10 years. And if we can't hit global director in 10 years, then we can say, oh, we're losers, right? That wasn't our conversation. But we're like, we're going to do this and we're going to be consistent. And so social media and then traditional relationships, right? It's so important with both to be intentional about it and to schedule into your day, into your week, times that you can, with social media, it keeps you from getting caught in the cat videos. And I'm not talking about Kat Fuller videos. She makes fantastic videos. I'm talking about stupid videos or ads that you follow and you go down this rabbit hole and you're like, oh wait, I look at my clock and I've been here for an hour, 2 hours, wasting time. And what was your intention? What kinds of relationships are you trying to create? Who do you need to follow? Who do you need to go and comment on? What kind of relationships are you intending to create? And then traditional media, face-to-face, voice-to-voice, right? Schedule into your days and your weeks. Time to go to the park, right? Connect with other moms. Go. One of my favorite examples is Curtly. Curtly's like, she got this cute little Labradoodle, right? And she like scheduled in time to go to the dog park. And she got all these clients and coaches and people that shared similar interests and similar visions as her. So go out and outside of the walls of your own home, outside the walls of social media, and create authentic relationships. John, anything you want to add there, or Bonnie?
You nailed it. I think.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to not giving up, staying in the business, right? I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, but I wanted Bonnie Siulua to talk about this because Bonnie's worked really closely with Amber for several years now, and she can give you her own account, but I think she was a little frustrated with that. Would that be accurate, Bonnie?
Just a little. Gosh, you guys, I've been trying to crack that dang code for 4 years now, and so I'm just gonna quick share my unplugged behind the scenes kind of story behind the past 4 years. September 23rd is anniversary date of this month, actually. So, but I'm just gonna kind of get real with you guys. When I first started coaching, it was mostly about the money. I'm not gonna lie. I was dealt a lot of trials in my life. I had a tough upbringing, a tough marriage. My husband struggled with finishing school and establishing a career for us. And so I was determined to make coaching work no matter what for me and my future. And I just made that decision right from the very beginning. When I first started coaching, I hit ED my first few months. And right when I hit ED, my sister was my coach. She decided not to coach anymore. And then her coach decided not to coach anymore. So here I was, this newbie, and I was trying to learn all on my own. And I was a huge introvert. I was super shy, had low self-esteem. I had so many concepts that you can't even imagine. You could write a book that's like 2 inches thick, all my concepts that I had. And then I was invited to Global that spring, and that's when I met Amber. And I sort of made her take me under my wing at that point. And it's a good thing she played ball with her sister. Otherwise, I would have reached out to a complete stranger. I just wouldn't have. That's not who I was. So, yeah. So I was a huge project. I needed a ton of training, and I was still in my 20s, working full time as a flight attendant. But somehow, after Global, I came home and I got a coach to go ED, and I totally didn't get it. That coach lasted a month. She hit ED, and I was a hot mess. She was a hot mess, and she ended up giving up. And so there I was, still at ED. And shortly after that, I received my first few texts from my clients thanking me that I changed their life. And at that point, it turned into something so much more. I finally caught the vision. I just realized little old me did that. holy cow, I can't believe I changed someone's life. And from that point on, I caught in. Amber helped me work through my concepts. And for the past 4 years, I've never fallen below 6K frontline volume. I've had a few coaches here and there. I've hit Fibic a few times, but I've just been steady for the past 4 years at 6K frontline volume, about 20,000 group volume. And I feel like such a late bloomer. But I kept plugging into trainings. I went to all the events. I went to all the conventions. I've never missed a convention. I've never missed a global. I've missed a handful of Tuesday 20s, but I always catch the playback. But I just kept learning all these action steps at global. And every year I'd come home and be like, okay, this year I'm going to go global. I'm going to do it. And I didn't go global year after year. And there were several times when I just wanted to give up. And I just remember all these trials the past few years have happened. And after every trial, I just was so stressed out over my business. I'd gain weight. I would feel inadequate. I had bad anxiety to the point of panic attacks. And I'll just kind of, as a side note, after 15 years, I finally lowered my pride and realized that I couldn't handle this horrible anxiety on my own. I had to get meds, and there was a 9-day difference there. Anyway, so that was a lifesaver after 15 years of struggling with super bad anxiety, but so grateful for modern medicine. But anyway, so I wanted to give up so many times, but I just remember when I first did that decision that I made, and something in me had to keep going. And I knew that nothing good ever came from giving up. And my sister and I joke around that I have an inner Navy SEAL, and it's so weird. It's just that I have this something in me that no matter what, physically, anything that comes my way, mentally, physically, I'm going to get through it no matter what. And it's so funny, Margie, this was before I met Margie. I didn't know her husband was a Navy SEAL. But when he came and shared his Navy SEAL story, I was like sitting on the edge of my seat, like, oh my gosh, I was living vicariously through him because I seriously want to be a Navy SEAL, you guys. Like, I know that sounds so dumb. And I'm never a Navy SEAL, but it's something inside of me that is just, I will never give up. And I just remember, I don't know if it was John or Jared who posted in the very beginning when I first started coaching that Grant Cardone Hustle Muscle Grant Rant. If you guys haven't watched that, go watch that. Grant Cardone talks about if he were to go from having this successful business to ground zero, have everything taken away from him, he would still keep going because he has that hustle muscle inside. And I just feel like that is what I have. I have that hustle muscle no matter what. I'm just going to keep going. And so it took me about 3.5 years to finally put my finger on one thing that was holding me back from moving forward. And it was confidence. Confidence in myself, confidence to be a leader, confidence to move forward, no confidence. And something in me just clicked. And my husband and I, after 4 years, we finally made a dream board. We were so afraid to dream. We had such a crappy life that we never could look at the future and think that could be something beautiful. We were finally able to have that confidence to move forward and just keep going. And a few months later, that's when I met my coach, Steph, and we went integrated regional director. And our group volume went from 20,000 to 136,000 group volume overnight, pretty much. And so right when I was about to give up, something good happens. It's crazy how that works. And I know that she and I were meant to cross paths. But looking back over the years, things happened how they were supposed to. If I were to go global right from the very beginning, I couldn't have sustained. There's no way. I had to go through what I went through and learn the things that I went through at the pace that I was supposed to keep going on my journey. And I'm still learning. I still have so many concepts, but it's just all piece by piece, little by little. And really quick, I know we're almost out of time, but I want to share a picture with you guys that is really special to me. Last year, I had the opportunity to go to Spain with my sister, and there was this place I really wanted to see called La Pedrera. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. Google it if you haven't. It's this gorgeous this gorgeous venue that you can go to and see this artwork from this artist who created these funky like buildings and chimneys out of broken glass and tiles. And when I saw that in a brochure, I'm like, I have to go there. I've dreamt of that place. It was so weird. I remember dreaming of that place back when I was younger. And it was so weird. Like I had literally walked there before, but I had never been there. So I had to go to this place, and things kept happening. We couldn't keep going. We couldn't end up going to this place. And finally, I'm just like, you know what? I have to go here. For some reason, I just have to go see this place. I've dreamt of it. So we hopped on these bikes. We only had about 30 minutes. We got to the place. We're standing in line, and we almost had to just take off and leave and not get to go see it. But I'm just like, no, I'm going to make it happen. So we got up there, and I was just like almost in tears. It was the weirdest thing. I'll just show you the picture really fast. Tell me if you guys see that. Can you guys see that?
Yes. Yep, you can.
So it was the weirdest thing. Like, and I was just staring at this masterpiece that this artist had created by hand. And I looked at it like it was my life and my business, piece by piece, broken glass, put together. And at the time, obviously, he was like putting these pieces together, not thinking anything of it. And it creates a beautiful masterpiece. And that's how I look at this. It's hard work sometimes, and you never know what's going to happen with each piece. But in the end, it can be something beautiful, even though it's just broken glass. So that's kind of my story. So don't give up. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Thanks, Bonnie. You know,
I'm totally crying. Just
I know. Everybody who's ever, we talk about success a lot, and a lot of you have probably seen the meme or the diagrams of the success iceberg, what people see above water and what goes on below water and stuff, all the risks, the heartache, the trials, all this stuff. And Bonnie talked about confidence. I had a high school basketball coach that played Division I, played against some of the all-time greats in the NBA. He didn't go to the NBA, but he asked me one time, he said, Jared, do you know what the difference between the very greatest players and the good ones are? And I said, no, but I'm sure you're going to tell me. And he said, it's confidence. He said, I played against guys who were more physically talented, more gifted than the all-time greats. But they didn't make it as far because they didn't have the confidence. And he said, do you know where confidence comes from? And I said, no. And he said, confidence comes through one thing and one thing only, and that's repetition. Doing it over and over and over and over and over and over. I'm 100% confident after 8.5 years of living at a healthy weight that I can go into any circumstance and I can continue to live healthy because I've done it for 8.5 years. 8 years ago, I wasn't so confident. I'd be like, oh man, that situation's really hard for me. But after I've done it, I can look back. If I go into a hard situation tomorrow with my physical health, I can be like, well, I've done it for the last 8 years. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but it's simple and I know how to do it. I know how to get it done. And the business is the same way. But you can't take days and weeks and months off. Because in those days and weeks and months, new habits are formed. And you get away from the things that are pulling you. That's why we absolutely love Bonnie, because we've had lots of conversations with her over the years. We've seen the tears. We've heard the heartache. We've heard all the stories. And we couldn't give her the strength. She had to kind of, I don't know where this one came from, pull herself up by the bootstraps and say, you know what, I'm not going to give up. This is too important to me. And this business is way more than just a business and helping people lose weight. This business, Amber and I were talking about this last week. I want a crap ton. That's what my kids always say. I want a crap ton of money, right? Because you can do way more good with money than you can without.
Well, and I think that probably a lot of you can relate to Bonnie. I know I can, that there's been a lot of hard things in our lives that we've gone through. And one thing I can say is that we believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself yet, then I know that you can help people. I know that there's people out there just like you who are struggling. And this business and this program is an answer. It's an answer to prayers. It's an answer to what people are struggling with right now.
In this business, what I was going to say, this business isn't just weight loss. It isn't just the business that people see on the surface. And this is my challenge for you guys this week, is to do what Bonnie and Yella did not too long ago. Is if you haven't really sat down and dreamed, sit down and dream and create that dream board and get with your mentor. It may not be your sponsor. Get with your mentor this week and share that with them and say, this is what I want. And I want Optavia to be the vehicle that helps me get there, that helps me achieve those things. And then as I'm achieving those things, want and desire to create even more. Because this business makes life better. It makes marriages better. It makes partnerships better. It makes, Bonnie and Yella, like they're a different couple than I knew 4 years ago when we first met them. We're different than we were 8.5 years ago. And guess what? That process has been hell. It wasn't easy. It wasn't like, oh, let's go and go through some personal development. It's going to make things all rosy, right? The refiner's fire is real. It's hurtful. It's painful, but it makes you better. It makes life better. And so go out and dream yourselves so that you know how to do it, so that when you're having those conversations with potential clients, potential coaches, you can help them dream. You can help them see something that they can't see for themselves right now. Because like Grant Cardone says, nothing is too expensive when the people see the value in it. And that goes for becoming a client or becoming a coach. So thank you, Jon and Bonnie, for your transparency. Yeah, go for it, Jon.
Since we're being super transparent, you guys all need to know that the reason the conversation that came up with Jared did isn't because I felt like we were in a rocking spot. Isn't because I felt like our business is blowing up at the pace that we wanted. And I'm going to be super short because I know we're at the end of time. But I have thought about something that I do want to share super quickly. You guys, success is relative. Do not compare your success to other people's success, because that's not fair for you. That's not fair for them. If I make $1 million and you make $1 million, I might be ecstatic and you might be bummed because you feel like your goal is 10 million. So let's not compare our successes to each other's successes. Let's just go out and be consistent and do these 3 things and have fun along the way and love and support each other. And I appreciate Bonnie for being so transparent, because I'll tell you, whenever I see her and I see Yella together, like independently and together, I smile. I'm happy to see them, genuinely happy to see them. And I know that there's someone in your world right now that sees you and thinks the exact same thing. They are so happy to see you for who you are and what you bring. So
remember this, anything that is worth doing today is worth doing forever. And anything worth doing long-term is worth doing today. So decide what it is worth to you. Set some, go out and dream this week. Get with your mentors, let them know, and set a plan. Be willing to go after what you want rather than what you feel like or don't feel like.
Thanks for being on, you guys. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate what you're doing to help others. And I look for that email with all of the info. And thanks for being on. Yeah.